G'day, Dave from Out&About with Dave. Behind me over here is the mainland of Australia, and as we look up here, that's Palmerston Passage, so that's between Australia, the mainland, and Bribie Island. And then over here at the other end of this bridge, that's Bribie Island. So we're going to go there today for a quick visit. Tides are right, lunchtime, so we're going to go up now. It's just gone 10, and I'll be up there. Low tide's about 1:30, and we'll have a play around on the beach, and I'll show you a few things up there, and then we'll come back and, as I like to say, back in time for the school run. Although I don't have the school run, but it's sometimes amazing what you can do in just a few hours away from the big smoke. So come on and see what we can see. So there's a few aspects to Bribie Island. There's the Palmerston Passage, and there's parks and that sort of stuff along that side, and you can go fishing there. There's the touristy bits in the town as far as shops and that sort of stuff goes. But I suppose the real interest one is here on the eastern side of the island, where it gives you access to Moreton Bay. It's protected by Moreton Island off the coast, the world's second largest sand island. And right now where I am now is a little car park that's on the eastern side, right on the beach. You can hear the surf, and this is where you come and let your tyre pressures down. You let your air out of the tyres. So letting your air out of the tyres is essential when you get into the soft sand. It gives you a greater surface area of the tyre on the sand, less bogging down, gives you more traction in the sand, and helps you stay afloat on the sand. So I'm going to let my tyres down now, and then we're going to head off up this track here, a kilometre or so, and get onto the beach. So can't wait. So letting the air out of the tyres is a somewhat easy thing. All you can do is break the valve on your tyre and let the air out. You can either do that with a sharp object, push it in, or there's several devices you can do. But first I'm going to take my tyre pressure management system off. That's these little caps on the end here, and the locking nut. And today I'm going to be using one of these quickie tyre deflators. Get them online, several places. Again, there's other tools that you can use to do this. But this is the one I use. So you screw that on, then you effectively remove the valve inside here. And as you do it, you can let the air out by sliding this little arm backwards and forwards. This one here. So the air is coming out there now. And you can keep an eye on how much pressure you've got left in there by pushing that back down and seeing what air you've got in the tyres. Everyone will have different opinions on what the ideal tyre pressure is. I suggest that if you're starting off, you can probably go down as low as 20, but other people say go to 16. Suppose when you go to 16, you've got to actually pump the tyres back up if you're not happy. 20 you can always go down again. There you go, that's 20. We'll leave it there. So screw that back in, and that screws your valve back into place. Take your deflator off, and that's that tyre done. I'll just put my tyre pressure management system back on. And you have that one. Okay, so I've let my tyres down. I've got 20 pounds or thereabouts, and I'm just leaving the pump up area here, and we're going to go down the access track to the beach directly. There is an inland track, but that takes you way up inland and brings you out on the beach at the northern end of the beach. So here we go. You need an access permit to get here. It's about $50 for the week, about $150 for a year. There has recently been added some number plate recognition software and cameras at the entrances and exits, and yeah, so they keep an eye on who's here. So this track here, you require four-wheel drive on this. It's sand and soft and a few, I'll call them wombat holes, but ups and downs. So you just need to take care and be cautious when you're driving. I just heard my ABS kicking in on my car just then. So just put the locks on the diffs so that all the wheels are driving, and a wheel doesn't spin just because this loses traction. Here's a number plate recognition, as I say. Just to give me some extra power with the engine, I've turned the air conditioning off, I've got my windows wound down, I'm enjoying the sea breeze. So I put an iDrive on the Mazda PT50 recently, and I'm just driving it now on this dirt road without it on. And I do feel there's a slight lag in the throttle. When you put the foot down, it takes a while for the engine to sort of say, hey look, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and here you go, here's some power for you. So I'll deliberately hit some soft stuff here. And you can hear the engine revving just a little bit, trying to get there. As I go into some soft stuff, deliberately trying to find a tricky bit here. And the engine just sort of has that split second between putting the foot down and then catching up. So there's some more soft stuff here now, and I'll put it on to the setting I had it on before, which is U3. So the scales of U, which is there's a code for that. The scale of 3 is a 0 to 9 continuum, and I've chosen 3. So it means that my throttle is a little bit more responsive now, and I hope it's coming through. I hope it's coming through on the recording, but the throttle is far more responsive as I come through, as I come to soft bits, and I want to give it a little bit of grunt. I know it's there. It's not waiting that split second while the car sort of bogs down a bit. So that was easy. That was fun. Totally different to what the off setting is. There's an economic setting as well on here. I'll just put that on. E4, I've got that on, so that gives you it can even give you even more lag from 0 to 9. 9 is more lag than what the car is built with. They say in the brochures that this is the setting to make sure your foot doesn't bounce around on the accelerator if you're doing some rough off-road stuff with the rocks and things like that. I don't know, I'll have to try that on some tactical stuff and see how it goes, but you can hear there's a little bit of lag there when you want to put your foot down. The other setting that there is a AC, which is automatic control, so it senses what you want to do. So if you're just putting your foot down lightly, it gives it that lag. But the minute you want to put your foot down, it gives it to you. It gives what you want. And of course the most important thing with sand driving, a lot of off-road stuff, is momentum. So you don't want to go jerky, you just want to keep that car going at the speed you want it to get through that obstacles. I'll go back onto U3 now as we come onto the beach. So this is the entrance to the beach. We just come a couple of kilometres maybe on the dirt access road, and we're about 2.5 hours before low tide. Easy to access onto the beach here. There's a bit of a bump here, just get around that. And off we go. There you go. Bribie Island in its finest. Beautiful low tides, and it's going to get lower. So remember, we got 20 psi in our tyres. That's fairly low. You can go lower. It all depends on the vehicle weight and the sand conditions. But just be careful when you get your tyres down. You don't want to do tight turns. You don't want to do some tricky manoeuvring and that sort of stuff. Even at slow speed, you can pop the tyre off the rims. Some good fishing along here. There's camping further up, and the speed limit is about 50 kilometres, I think, from memory. And this is actually still part of Moreton Bay. The Pacific Ocean is off to our right, but as I said, we're protected by the Moreton Island, North Stradbroke Island, and then further up, once you get past Bribie, Noosa and the North Shore and the coloured sands, you've got Fraser Island way up the north, Australia's largest sand island. People come up here just for the day, do some fishing, just sit on the beach, have a picnic lunch, whatever they want to do. Good get away from Brisbane, just an hour and a half or an hour or so, depending on where you live. So there's been some recent changes on the island. There's inland lakes and lagoons on the island, and they obviously sit up there on the sand of fresh waters. But what's happened recently is that with the heavy rains, the lakes have filled up and they've actually overflowed to the ocean. They've broken through this sand barrier here, and that gives you quite a nice little interesting creek crossing, or places for kids to swim even. So we're a little bit further up the beach. I'll just do a big U-ey here to show you what the driving and the beach is like. And that's Morton Island over there in the distance, looking south. And the sand dunes here, and then heading north again. And off in the distance, you probably can't see it in the video, but that's Caloundra. Just where the Pumicestone Passage comes out on the northern end of the island. The Pumicestone Passage was named because of all the pumice stone they could found floating up and down in the passage and that around this area. There's some on the beach here now. The pumice itself comes from the Glasshouse Mountains, the extinct volcanoes. So when they were volcanoes, they'd punch out all this lava and stuff, and one of those products was pumice, the very lightweight, I'll call them rocks, that float on the water. So here I am, I've come up the beach a ways, and I'm at access point D and site number 9 camping area. How's this for a view? It is Thursday, it's a working day, but a lot of Brisbane anyway is shut down with the zombie virus, as I call it, and here we are. You could have a site like this very, very easily. Glad I came out for the day. So, just like any other road, this beach is a road. Watch out for pedestrians and watch your speed. It is policed. And besides that, you wouldn't want to ruin everyone's holiday. Thing on Bribie Island, if you come up this way, are the gun emplacements that they put in during the war to tackle any invading ships that might be coming down the passage coming into Brisbane. I'm going to make my way up to the northern one. And this point up here marks the end of the vehicular access on the beach. You see the no entry signs. Now here's something to keep in mind when you're travelling on the beach. When you do stop, try and reverse back up into the dune, or at least off the road, and if you reverse, that gives you a chance when you actually come to pull out to drive forward, using the weight of the vehicle going forward, and you can control it a bit better. So I'm about to have a a bit of lunch under the shade of this casuarina and enjoy the wonderful view. So there you have it really, just a quick visit to Bribie Island. As I say, you can go up the inland track if the tides aren't right, you can come up the beach if the tide is right and enjoy yourself. Come up early in the morning on a low tide, sit down under the shade of the trees, have lunch at the high tide, and then when it changes again, drive back down or stay the night, stay 2 nights, stay a week, stay 2 weeks. Anyway, for me now, I think as Bear Grylls might say, all this driving on the beach, I've actually got a desire to go for a swim. So here I am, and I'm going to enjoy myself just for a few minutes, and then I'll head back. See you later.